ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुविज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदताम् ध्यायन्तु भूतानि मिथं शिवोऽधिव। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के इस गीता के प्रवचन में। और हम अध्ययन कर रहे हैं 6ठे अध्याय का 32वां श्लोक। पिछले दो तीन श्लोकों में भगवान ने बताया था कैसे योगी जो है उस समय भगवान की दृष्टि रख स्थिति को देखता है और हर स्थिति में वो भगवान का भजन करता है। सुख हो दुख हो हानि हो लाभ हो उनसे वो विचलित नहीं होता है। तो इसमें फिर आगे इस 32वें श्लोक में बताते हैं कि वो कैसे
In the 32nd verse, he is saying
व्यवहार करता है लोगों
how
से,
the yogi
समाज
deals
दूसरों के साथ में उसकी क्या दृष्टि रहती है।
with people in the society. In the previous verse, he had said how he sees Bhagavan everywhere.
लेकिन अगर सबके साथ
But
भगवान की स्थिति देखेगा तो उसके साथ
if he
बर्ताव कैसे करेगा?
sees Bhagavan everywhere, then how will he deal with the people?
बर्ताव करता है।
So in this verse, he's explaining how he deals in the society being devoid of raga dvesh, and how he does welfare to the society, how he has this mentality of welfare.
समं पश्यति अर्जुन सुखम वा यदि वा दुखम स योगी परमो मतः। हे अर्जुन, मेरे मत में जो
Oh
अपने
Arjun,
आत्मतुल्य
in my opinion,
जीवों के
the
सुख दुख
person
को
who,
सुख दुख
by
के साथ
comparison
देखता
to
है,
his own self,
वैसे
sees the
वो
happiness and distress of all living beings as identical to his
पहले
own,
योगी बताए
that
गए
yogi
कौन
is
है और
considered the
अब बताते हैं कि
topmost.
उनमें सर्वोत्तम योगी कौन है।
So earlier he described about the
क्योंकि जो
yogis,
प्रकरण चल रहा है
and now he is explaining who is the topmost yogi,
तो
because this is the
सभी
topic
योगियों में
of
भी
Dhyan Yoga.
अलग अलग स्तर हैं,
So among the yogis also there are different
किसको वो मानते हैं,
levels. So whom does he consider
उसका
the
वर्णन इस श्लोक
topmost?
में कर रहे हैं।
That is what he is describing in this verse.
तो महत्वपूर्ण श्लोक है ये
So this is an important
और
verse,
इसी से मिलते जुलते
and
आप सुनते हैं ईसाई धर्म में भी कहते हैं कि
somewhat similar to
लव
this
दाई
we
नेबर
hear
thyself।
in Christianity,
तो आप
love thy neighbor as you
अपने
love thyself.
पड़ोसी को ऐसे ही प्यार करो
So
जैसे आप अपने आप को
the
प्यार
point
करते
is
हो।
you love your neighbor in the same
तो
way
कहने का
you love
मतलब है
yourself.
अपने से
So
तुलना
the
करके
point
दूसरों
is
को समझना,
that trying
इसको
understanding
बोलते हैं
others by
समानुभूति,
comparing with yourself. This is called similar
जिसको
experience.
अंग्रेजी में एम्पैथी बोलते हैं।
In English we call it empathy.
तो समाज में
In the
चलने के
society,
लिए, समाज में
in order to
संबंध बनाने
function,
के लिए
in order to maintain relations,
समानुभूति की बहुत आवश्यकता है,
this empathy
क्योंकि
is
जैसा हम
very
जानते
essential,
हैं
because as we
सबके अपने
know
अपने अनुभव हैं,
that
सबके अपने
everyone
अपने
has
विचारधाराएं
his
हैं,
or her own experience,
अपने अपने
own
उद्देश्य हैं,
thought process,
हम
own
सब एक जैसे तो नहीं हैं।
goals, motivations. We are,
तो
none
दूसरे
of
के
us
मन
are
में
the
क्या
same.
चल रहा है
So what is
और
going
मेरे
on in the
व्यवहार
other's
से
mind,
सुख मिलेगा या दुख
and
मिलेगा,
my behavior or dealings
इसको जानना
will
आवश्यक है।
give him happiness or
क्योंकि
inflict
हम
suffering
इस
upon
संसार
him.
में
This
रहते
is
हैं
essential to understand,
और संसार
because
कर्म के
we live in
सिद्धांत पर
this
चलता है।
world, and this world functions on the
तो
principle of
सामान्य
karma.
दृष्टि से भी देखा जाए तो कोई भी
So
व्यक्ति
if we uh,
ऐसा कर्म नहीं करना चाहता कि
analyze
जिसका
from
फल उसे
ordinary vision
दुख के
also,
रूप में मिले,
nobody wants to
हम
do
हमेशा इस
something
प्रकार का कर्म
that gives
करना
him
चाहते हैं
suffering.
कि हमारे कर्मों
We
से
always
हमें
want to do
सुख दे,
something that gives us happiness,
लेकिन ऐसा होता नहीं है हमेशा।
but it doesn't
ये भी हमारा
happen.
अनुभव है कि
We
हमारे
don't
ऊपर दुख आते
get
रहते हैं,
happiness
हमारे
always.
कर्मों के
We
फल,
often get suffering,
क्योंकि
and
हमारे
those
कहने
sufferings
से
are nothing but the
दूसरा
results of
कुछ
our
नहीं,
own karmas.
दूसरा कुछ नहीं कह रहा है।
Because if our mind is
अगर दूसरा हमारे लिए
disturbing
परेशानी
us,
खड़ी करता है तब तो हम कह सकते हैं कि मैं
we are
ईश्वर के
responsible
कारण
for
दुखी
that.
हूँ, लेकिन
If somebody else is inflicting suffering upon us, we can say that the other person is responsible.
हमारे
But
मन में
generally, what we observe is that
विचारधाराएं इस प्रकार
we
की चलती
keep
रहती हैं
suffering
हमको।
due to our own mind.
तो
So
ऐसा
many
क्यों होता
thoughts
है?
and
हमारे
emotions
कर्मों का फल
arise
है।
which give us suffering. So this
मन
is
है परम
actually the result
कारण,
of our own karma.
तो मन ही ये परम कारण है। तो
Mind is the
इसलिए समानुभूति
main
का
reason
भाव,
for our suffering. That is why
तो
this
उसी का
empathy is very
यहाँ
important.
पर मंत्र भगवान दे रहे हैं इन
So here Bhagavan is giving a formula
समानुभूति के लिए।
for empathy.
तो कहते हैं आत्मोपमेन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति अर्जुन। आत्मा माने अपना और
Atma
औपमेन माने
means
उपमा,
own,
तुलना करके,
and upam
अपने से तुलना करके जो सब जगह समानता दिखता है समस्त जीवों में,
Opamyena means by comparison. So one who, by comparison to his own self, sees happiness and distress of all living beings as identical to his own. So Bhagavan says such a yogi is topmost. So here, what is indicated by Atma? So here Atma indicates his own body, because if we compare on the standard of Atma actually, then everyone's Atma is same. There is no difference in any Atma. All Atmas are same only. So you don't have to check actually whether Atma is same or different. And anyway, we don't have the qualification to see Atma. So here Atma refers to our own body, mind, because currently we refer to this body itself as ourselves. If somebody asks your introduction, then your introduction is all related to the body only. So here Atmaupanyena means comparison of body. So you can make the meanings in two ways. Like
आ गया, चलो। तो जैसे हमारे शरीरों के अंगों में अगर कहीं
so
कष्ट होता
just
है
like
तो उन
if
कष्ट का
there is
निवारण
some pain in any organ of the body,
तो
we try to
हम
find some
अपने
measures
शरीर
to
के
alleviate
अंगों
the
में ऐसा
pain,
भेदभाव नहीं करते हैं कि ये पैर
to
है
cure
तो
the
ये कष्ट है
disease.
तो मैं इसका
We do not
कष्ट
discriminate or
को थोड़ा कम
differentiate
करने का कोई
between
प्रयास
the
नहीं करूंगा
among the different organs, that okay,
और
if this
सिर
is
है तो
legs,
प्रयास
then I will
करूंगा,
not
ऐसा
try
नहीं।
anything for
समदृष्टि से
this,
ही हम शरीर के अंगों को
or
देखते
I will
हैं
try only
हम
for any
किसी
if I have any problem in my brain.
हम
No,
चाहते हैं कि हमारे
we
शरीर के सभी
try
अंग
to
स्वस्थ रहें
alleviate the sufferings of
और किसी भी
every
अंग में कोई
organ
कष्ट
in the
ना हो,
body. We don't
ऐसा हम
want pain
देखते हैं।
in any part of the body.
तो एक तो अर्थ ये है कि जैसे हम अपने
So
शरीर
one
के
meaning
अंगों
is
के
that
साथ
just like
अंगों के साथ में बर्ताव करते हैं, ऐसे हम
we
दूसरों के साथ भी
deal
बर्ताव
with
करते
the
हैं।
different parts or organs of the
विशेष तौर
body,
पर बर्ताव जो है वो सुख
similarly
दुख
we deal with other people in the society also.
ही व दुख,
And this dealings, Bhagavan
कि
is mainly
जैसे
talking
सुख की
about
परिस्थिति में हम
happiness and
अपने शरीर
suffering.
के अंगों के साथ बर्ताव करते हैं,
Just like we
ऐसा ही
deal with
हम
the organs of
दूसरों
the
के
body
साथ भी
related
बर्ताव
to
करते हैं,
happiness and suffering,
तो
similarly we deal with the
उसमें हम
people in the
समदृष्टि
society
रखते हैं कि
also.
उनके साथ भी ऐसे ही रखें।
So we should maintain equal vision.
दूसरा अर्थ यह है कि जैसे हमारा सुख
The
होता है
second meaning is that just like we
तो
have
ऐसे
our
दूसरे का भी
happiness,
होता है।
similarly others
जैसे
also have
हमको दुख मिलता
happiness,
है जिन चीज़ों से, ऐसे
and just
दूसरों
like
को भी होता है। तो इसको
uh,
समझें
we get suffering, others
कि अगर कोई
also
मेरे
get
को
suffering. So we should understand that
कठोर वाणी बोलता है तो
if
मेरे को
somebody
अच्छा नहीं
speaks to
लगता,
me in a harsh way,
तो
I
दूसरे को
don't
भी
like
अच्छा नहीं
that.
लगेगा।
Similarly, when I speak in
तो
harsh
इसलिए जैसे मैं नहीं
way,
चाहता हूँ कि
others
कोई
also
मेरे
don't
से
like that.
कठोर वाणी बोले
So just like
या
I don't
कठोरता से बर्ताव करे,
want that
तो मेरे
others
को भी अच्छा
deal
नहीं
with
लगता कि
me
दूसरों के
in a
साथ
rough or harsh way, similarly I should also
समानुभूति का
not deal
ये
like
अर्थ होता है
that
कि
with
हम एक
others.
दूसरे की
So
भावनाओं को समझें
empathy means this only,
कि एक
that
दूसरे
we
की
try to
मन में किस
understand
प्रकार का भाव आता
others'
है
feelings,
जब कोई परिस्थिति होती है, तो
that
दूसरे के
when
मन में किस प्रकार का भाव आता है,
in a specific situation what sort of feelings arise in
क्योंकि
the
हम
other
दूसरे के मन को
person,
तो देख नहीं सकते हैं,
because we cannot see the other's mind.
उसके शरीर में बाहर दिखाई पड़ता है लेकिन मन में
Although
क्या
there
चल
are
रहा है वो तो पता नहीं
symptoms
चलता ना,
on the body,
तो
but
उसका
exactly
हम
what is going on in the
अनुमान लगा
mind,
सकते
we
हैं
cannot
कि
understand that. But we can try to make some inference
तो
based on the thoughts in
उसके
our own
अनुसार हम
mind
बर्ताव
in that
करते हैं।
situation. So understanding this, how the person deals. So here seeing does not mean only seeing. Seeing and then understanding and dealing accordingly.
तो उस देखने का लाभ क्या होगा? तो देखने के साथ साथ में फिर उसके अनुरूप में बर्ताव करना, ये कहने का मतलब है.
So
तो उसको
here
भगवान कहते
seeing
हैं
means
परम योग.
seeing as well as behaving accordingly.
तो उससे अर्थ यही निकलता है कि जैसे हम सुख चाहते हैं और दुख नहीं चाहते.
So the meaning that is derived here is that
तो मेरे को ऐसे
just like
बर्ताव करना चाहिए.
we want happiness and not suffering, similarly we should also deal with others in a way that they become happy and do not suffer.
तो माँ कश्चन दुख भाग भवेत्. तो ये श्लोक यही बताता है कि किस प्रकार हम दूसरों के सुख
So
की
this
भावना
verse
करें.
teaches how
सुख ना भी
we
दे
should
सकते
all
हैं, तो कम से कम उनके सुख की भावना तो करें.
try to bring
और
happiness
अगर
in
हम
others'
उनका
lives.
कष्ट निवारण नहीं भी कर सकते हैं तो कम से
Even
कम
if we
उनकी
cannot
भावना तो रखें
remove their
कि
suffering,
कष्ट ना
at
हो,
least we have this
तो
feeling that others don't suffer.
तो यही इस श्लोक में भगवान हमको बता रहे हैं.
This is what Bhagavan is
और
teaching
जिस
in this
प्रकार
verse.
हम अगर हमारे शरीर में कहीं कोई पीड़ा होती है,
And just like if there is some
हम
pain in our
दवा
body
लेते हैं, उसका
and we
दर्द निवारण करते हैं,
take
तो फिर
some
हम ऐसा तो नहीं
medicines,
सोचते ना कि मैंने इस शरीर के इस अंग पर कुछ एहसान कर दिया है,
we don't think that we
मैंने
have
इसके
done
ऊपर
some
बड़ी कृपा की
favor
है, इसका
to
दुख
that
निवारण कर
organ
दिया.
of the
ऐसा
body
तो नहीं सोचते ना.
in which there was pain.
तो
We don't
ऐसे ही
think like
दूसरों के
that.
साथ भी हमको सोचना
Similarly,
चाहिए,
we should
जिसको
think
कहते हैं कि
about
वैदिक
others
जीवन
also
की
in the
आत्मा.
same way.
तो हम दूसरों का कुछ कल्याणकारी कार्य
If
करें,
we do
अच्छा
some
करें,
benefit to others,
तो
if
फिर
we do
उसमें ये
some
मानना
help to
चाहिए कि
others,
अब ये मेरे साथ
then we should not
ऐसा ही करे. करे तो अच्छा
expect
है,
that the other person
करना भी
also
चाहिए.
deals with me in that
लेकिन
way.
आपको
If he
ऐसा
does that,
ये भी
okay,
सोचिए, अगर
but
आप
we should
ऐसा
not
करते हैं
keep
तो
that
वास्तव में
expectation.
आप कल्याण नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप तो एक बिजनेस
Because if you are keeping that expectation, then you are not actually doing some benefit. What you are doing is a business.
दोनों पार्टी अपना कुछ, दोनों पक्ष जो उनको कुछ लाभ होता है तभी तो
Because in
कल्याण
business,
करते हैं. मेरे
both
को
parties derive
अच्छा लग
benefit
रहा है,
from
आप
each
अच्छा कर
other.
रहे हैं,
They have a
तो
deal for
इसलिए आपको
this.
पैसा देता हूँ और आपको भी लाभ हो रहा है, मेरे को
So
जो
you do
चाहिए था
some
मुझे
benefit
मिल
to
रहा
me,
है,
I give you money,
आपको जो चाहिए था वो आपको मिल
and
रहा है.
I give you some benefit, you give me money.
तो उसमें फिर योग की कोई बात नहीं है.
So there is
वो
no
तो
yoga
सामान्य
in that.
व्यवहार लोग करते
That
हैं
is a
अपने फायदे के
general
लिए.
dealing in the
तो जिस
society
दिन
which
फायदा
people
नहीं
do for
मिलेगा
their
तो
own
उसको नहीं कर
benefit.
लेंगे.
And when you
तो इसका कहने का मतलब
when
यही
you
है
don't get
कि
benefit
जैसे हम
anymore,
अपने अंगों से
then
कोई
you
कार्य
stop dealing
करते
with
हैं,
that person.
कोई सोचता भी नहीं है ऐसे, क्योंकि अपने ही अंग है.
So how we should deal in
तो
the
इसी प्रकार
society,
से सोचना
just
चाहिए.
like we deal with
तो
our bodily
इस
parts, the
श्लोक में मेरा
organs,
कहने का
we don't
अर्थ
think
यही
that we
है
are doing a favor to them.
कि वो
Similarly, we should not think
सर्वभूत
that we are doing a favor
जीव
to
मात्र के
someone
एकत्व
by
में,
helping him or her,
क्योंकि सब भगवान के ही हैं, हम भी उन्हीं के हैं.
because we
तो
everything
एकता की
belongs
दृष्टि
to
रखना,
Bhagavan, we also belong to
एकत्व
him.
में स्थित
So
रहना,
maintaining this
एकत्व
vision
की
of
दृष्टि रखना, ये
unity
सब
or
है.
oneness.
हालांकि हम अलग अलग आत्माएं
Although
हैं,
we are
शरीर
different
अलग अलग है,
atmas, we have
लेकिन
different
एक ही भाव
bodies,
रखना कि हम सब
but still
एक हैं,
keeping this
एक
vision
ही हम सब
that we
अंग
all
हैं.
are
इस प्रकार से
same
भाव रखना. जैसे शरीर के
parts
अंग,
of Bhagavan.
एक हाथ में पीड़ा हो तो दूसरा हाथ कुछ करेगा, तो वो
Just
व्यक्ति तो
like
सोचता है कि
if
इसका
one
हाथ
hand is, there is pain in
ये
one
भी
hand,
शरीर के
the
अंग
other
हैं.
hand will work
तो
to
इसी
alleviate
प्रकार
the pain
हम
of the
सब
other
व्यक्ति
hand.
प्रभु के अंग हैं,
Similarly, we
वो
all
प्रभु
are
ही हैं,
members
और
of
हम उनके शरीर के अंग
society,
हैं.
we are all parts of Bhagavan.
इस प्रकार की दृष्टि रखना, ये भी एक
Maintaining this type
अर्थ
of
इसका होता है.
vision, this is also one of the
तो
meanings
दूसरों को
of
अगर
this in this
सुख मिलता
verse.
है तो उसका अभिमान ना करें,
So we should not be proud of
और
helping
इसको ये
others
आशा ना करें
or
कि अब मेरे को
bringing
कोई सुख
happiness in
मिलेगा
others'
इसमें से,
lives. We should not have the expectation to
और
be praised
ये
by
आशा
them,
ना करें कि इससे मेरे को कुछ लाभ होगा.
expecting that
तो
in
ये भी
reciprocation the other
कहने
person
का
will
अर्थ
also
है.
help me. So
और
this is the point here.
ट्राई करके एक आध्यात्मिक व्यक्ति का जो उदाहरण होता है वो एक आसक्त व्यक्ति का दिया जाता है.
And generally, for explaining a spiritualist, examples are used, examples of materialists are given. Just like a materialist is attached to the body and protects all the parts of the body, similarly, we should understand the whole world to belong to Bhagavan, and in this way, we should endeavor to protect it. This is the vision of a yogi. Then it is also said that Vaishnavas are paradukha dukhi. You must have heard it earlier that Vaishnavas feel pain seeing others in pain. It does not mean that if the other one is suffering, I also start suffering. If the other one is in depression and I also become depressed, then what is the benefit? Paradukha dukhi does not mean to become depressed by seeing others' depression. But what it means is that by seeing others in pain or suffering, I try to help the other person, because just like I help myself when I am in pain, similarly I help others also. And parasukhi means to feel happy by making others happy. This is what is taught in bhakti. To make Bhagavan happy, to make devotees happy. And when others devotees are suffering, then I help them in their difficult times. Not that I also become depressed. And if you go one step forward, one step ahead of this, one step ahead is I don't care for my own suffering and I just endeavor to help the other person, to help to remove his suffering. So everyone works for his or her own happiness, but yogi works for others' happiness. And he becomes happy by seeing others happy. And he doesn't become depressed at his own suffering. Like we studied in the case of Prahlad. Bhagavan said that your 21 generations have been liberated. So what do you want? So Prahlad said that I do not want to go seeing these people in the others in pain or suffering. This is how what he prayed to Bhagavan. So he had empathy for others. He was not self-centered, that I got Bhagavan, so now why should I bother about others? So he was worried about others. He said also that I do not want to go leaving these people in this world, leaving them suffering. Similarly, we find the story of Yudhishthir Maharaj, that when he was ascending to Swarga, and one by one the Pandavas were falling down on the snow, and only Yudhishthir remained. And when the aeroplane was sent to him, and when he went to Swarga, he asked, "Where are my brothers?" So Yudhishthir said that I want to go and be with my brothers. So it was told, he was told that your brothers are in hell, and Yudhishthir was taken there. The Devadut told him that, okay, you have seen how they are screaming in pain. So Yudhishthir said that, no, I cannot leave them suffering here. And the residents of hell said that we are feeling very happy because you are here. So Yudhishthir said that I don't mind suffering, but if my presence helps them, makes them happy, then I will not leave this place. So this is the heart of a Vaishnava, who is being referred by Bhagavan as Param Yogi. And then later also he will say that the topmost yogi is devotee. At the end of this chapter, he will say how devotee is the topmost yogi. So here he is saying, actually what he is speaking of in this verse, he is referring to the devotee only. This is the heart of a devotee. That is what Bhagavan is explaining here.
श्री रामानुजाचार्य जी ने एक अलग दृष्टि दी है.
Sri Ramanujacharya ji has given a different explanation. He says that just like the other person has happiness and distress and it does not affect us, it happens like you hear news of some accident somewhere or aeroplane fell down and we just hear the news and we move ahead. So Ramanujacharya ji says that you should have the same feeling for your own happiness and distress. You should not become disturbed at your own happiness and distress also, should not become implicated in that, because this is what happens. We have some problem in life and we become entangled in that and we forget our seva. So Ramanujacharya ji says that just like if somebody's relatives die, you are not affected by that. Similarly, if your relative dies, you should not be affected by that also. So Ramanujacharya ji has made this interesting point in his commentary. And just like others become happy at when there is some birthday or marriage, but you are not affected. Similarly, if it is your birthday or any birthday in your family, you should also not be elated with that. So just like Bhagavan said, to be balanced in happiness and suffering, the same meaning is being applied here.
कि जैसे उसके सुख दुख से मेरा कोई असर नहीं पड़ता है, ऐसे मेरा सुख दुख से भी मेरे ऊपर कोई असर नहीं पड़ना चाहिए.
Just like I am not affected by others' happiness and suffering, I should not be affected by my own happiness and suffering also. So this is one different explanation. So similarly, one verse can be analyzed with multiple angles. Madhusudan Saraswati ji has explained in a very interesting way. So first he says that just like
जिससे हमें सुख मिले वो चीज हमको प्राप्त हो और जिससे हमको दुख हो,
we want to attain those objects which give us happiness and we want to avoid those objects which give us suffering. Similarly, we should think about others also.
जो लोग सुखी हैं उनके साथ में मैत्री का भाव रखो.
Then he explains that we should maintain friendship with those who are happy. So if you maintain friendship with them, then your raga dvesh, your jealousy will go away. So this is a interesting point about human psychology. What happens is that we become envious of people who are happy. We find faults with those persons. We want to pull them down. So he says that you should have friendship with those people. Because so if you maintain friendship with them, then you will not become envious. Envy is with competitors. So he makes an interesting point that those who are happy, those whom you consider superior to yourself, you should have the feeling of friendship for them.
तो उससे आपका राग द्वेष समाप्त हो जाएगा.
So if we maintain friendship with these people, then our rag dvesh will go away.
उनमें करुणा का भाव रखो.
Those who are suffering, we should be compassionate towards them.
आपका अभिमान चला जाएगा.
Then we will lose our pride.
निकृष्ट होते हैं, जिनको हम दूसरों
because
अपने से
those
कम समझते
who
हैं,
are inferior
उनके आगे
to
हम
us,
अपना अभिमान दिखाते हैं ना,
we
मैं
show our
मैं
pride
श्रेष्ठ हूँ,
to them
और
that we
उनको
are superior,
नीचा दिखाना चाहते हैं,
and we want
कहते हैं
to
उनके ऊपर आप
pull them
करुणा
down.
करो,
So he
इससे
says
आपका
that we should be compassionate towards them.
द्वेष भाव, अभिमान, दर्प, जो आश्रित प्रवृत्ति होती है,
Then our
वो दूर हो
envy,
जाएगी।
jealousy will go away.
तो ये
This demonic
एक
mentality will go
साधक के
away.
लिए सलाह देते हैं वो।
So this is the
क्योंकि
advice he gives to a
तो एक सिद्ध
sadhaka.
योगी की बात कर रहा है,
Although this verse
जो
is
शुद्ध हो
talking
गया है,
about
परम
a
योगी है,
perfected
किस
yogi,
प्रकार बर्ताव
the
करना है,
topmost yogi,
लेकिन
is
इससे हमें ये भी
explained
शिक्षा
how
देते
he
हैं कि
behaves.
हम
But we
जो
should
योगी होते
also
हैं, हम जो साधक अवस्था में
derive the
होते हैं,
lesson that we
तो
who
हमको
are
कैसे बर्ताव करना
practitioners
चाहिए।
or sadhakas
तो
and
ये
not perfected ones, how we
प्रभाव से
should
इसको देते हैं,
behave. So this is what
क्योंकि प्राय
he
करके हमारा जो
teaches.
बर्ताव है वो
Because
इससे उल्टा रहता
generally
है,
our behavior is opposite.
दूसरों को दुखी देखना चाहते हैं,
We want to see others suffering,
और कोई अगर सुखी है
and if
तो
someone is
उससे हमको
happy,
दुख होता है,
then
और
uh,
कोई दुखी है
we
तो
we
देख के सुख होता है,
we suffer seeing
होता
others
है ना।
happy, and we
जिससे
feel
हमारे
happy seeing others
स्वभाव में
suffering.
उस पर कुछ समस्या आ जाए,
Those who are our
हमें अच्छा नहीं लगता,
competitors or we are envious of
इससे तो
them,
ये होना ही नहीं
and
चाहिए था,
then some problem
यदि
happens
हमें
in
कुछ
their
होता है।
life, then we feel happy
तो ये
saying,
इस
oh,
तरह की
what
प्रवृत्ति
happened
की
was very
बढ़ने
good,
से हमारा कोई
should
कल्याण
it
नहीं
should this
होगा,
should have happened earlier itself.
क्योंकि हमारे अंदर वो जो आसुरी स्वभाव है वो रहेगा ही।
So this feeling will not
और
help
जैसा
us
हमने पहले कहा कि
in
अगर
our
हमारा वो
sadhana, because the
आसुरी
demonic
स्वभाव रहेगा तो
mentality
फिर
will
भगवान
remain in
हमारे
our mind,
ऐसे
in
हृदय
our
में
chitta,
भगवान बैठते नहीं हैं,
and Bhagavan does not
और
reside in this
द्वेष
chitta
भाव बैठा
which
हुआ है
has
हमारे हृदय
demonic
में, वो
mentality.
तो एक शूल की तरह है उनके
The
लिए।
chitta which is filled with
हम तो
lust
एक
and
अच्छी स्वच्छ
anger, greed,
कोमल
Bhagavan does not stay there. Bhagavan
बैठने के लिए हृदय
wants
चाहिए।
a residence, a place which is very soft.
तो किसी की निंदा करने से हमको आनंद मिलता है,
So if we derive
क्योंकि
pleasure
हमने पाठ
by
किया है,
criticizing others, thinking that,
मन
oh,
को
see, I
शांति
taught him a
मिलती
good
है,
lesson. But then
कहते हैं
if
कि ये तो
somebody
अच्छा बोलता है,
criticizes us, then we complain that, oh, the other one
तो
is
उसको
envious of me.
नहीं करने, ऐसा स्वभाव नहीं रहा, तो इसलिए सुखम वा यदि वा दुखम आत्मोपन्येन समम पश्यति, कि जैसे मेरी जैसे कोई निंदा करता है
So
और
just
मेरे को
like
अच्छा नहीं
if
लगता,
someone
तो दूसरे की
criticizes
निंदा करो,
me
उसको भी
and
अच्छा
I
नहीं
don't
लगता,
like that, similarly, when I
और मेरी
criticize
जो
others,
प्रशंसा
they
करता है
also
मेरे
don't
को
like
अच्छी
that.
लगती है, तो ऐसे दूसरे को भी लगती है। तो दूसरों की निंदा में सुख नहीं लेना,
So we should not derive
और
happiness
अपनी
in
प्रशंसा में भी सुख नहीं लेना,
criticizing others, and we should not derive happiness in
क्योंकि जब
hearing our own praise.
हम अपनी प्रशंसा में सुख लेते हैं तो
When
उसका परिणाम
we
ये भी होगा कि हम
feel
दूसरों की
happy
निंदा में सुख लेंगे फिर,
by hearing our own praise, then it is obvious that we
और
will
अगर
also
हमको
be
अपनी
happy
निंदा से
by
कष्ट होता है
hearing others' criticism.
तो हमको दूसरों की प्रशंसा से भी कष्ट होगा, क्योंकि
If
ये
I feel
अहंकार इसी
pain
प्रकार से
on
काम करता है।
hearing my own on hearing,
तो इस श्लोक का ये भी एक
if I feel
भाव
pain
है
on being criticized, then I will feel
कि
pain when
सीधे
others are
भगवान
praised
गीता में
also.
बहुत श्लोक बोले हैं, दूसरे अध्याय से ही बोलते आ रहे हैं वो,
So here Bhagavan
सुखे
is
दुखे समय कृत्वा लाभा लाभो जया
speaking
जयो,
about empathy.
कहा ना उन्होंने, योग
He has been speaking on
परमाधि
empathy from the second
योगी
chapter itself.
सिद्ध्यो सिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वम योग उच्यते, मान अपमान और तुल्यम तुल्यम मित्रारिपक्षे, शीतोष्ण सुख दुखे तथा मान अपमान। इसी अध्याय में भी कहा ज्ञान विज्ञ तृप्तात्मा कूटस्थ विजितेन्द्रिय युक्त उच्यते योगी समलोष्टास्म कांचन, समता की बात की, सुहृद मित्र उदासीन द्वेष मध्यस्थ द्वेष बंधुषु साधुषु अपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिर विशेष्यते। तो समता की बात बहुत बार की है उन्होंने,
So Bhagavan has spoken
तो यहाँ भी
repeatedly
समता की
about
बात कर रहे हैं
empathy.
वो,
Here also he is speaking about
आत्मोपन्येन
empathy.
पवित्र समम पश्यति अर्जुन, तो इसको फिर दूसरों से श्रेष्ठ क्यों बता रहे हैं वो, तो इसमें एक गहरी बात है, क्यों इसको दूसरों से श्रेष्ठ बता रहे हो?
So why Bhagavan is speaking of this, the yogi in current verse as superior to the others? Because in the previous verses he was explaining about seeing others with equal vision. If somebody praises me or criticizes me, I maintain equal vision. But here he is telling seeing others as ourselves only.
तो ये थोड़ा कठिन काम है.
And what he is explaining in this verse is difficult to practice. If I see others as equal, if I see Bhagavan in everyone, then there is no problem.
क्योंकि मैं तो श्रेष्ठ ही हूँ उनसे,
because I am anyway superior to others. I am just seeing Bhagavan in them.
तो उसमें मेरा अहंकार,
But when I have to see myself also as same as others, then it's a blow to my ego. Because then I have to consider myself as equal with others. When I am seeing others as equal, then I have the pride of the seer that it is me who is seeing others with equal vision.
लेकिन मैं तो हूं ना, मैं तो एक बहुत सूक्ष्म रूप से मेरा अहंकार अलग रहता है.
So in a subtle way, very subtle way, I maintain my own separate ego. But when I start considering myself also as equal to others, then it is a blow to my ego.
मेरा अहंकार जो है अब वो बराबर हो गया.
So then the ego becomes equal.
जमीन पर आ गया. तो इसलिए ये कठिन है.
And that is why it is what Bhagavan is explaining in this verse is comparatively difficult.
अंतर है कि यहाँ दोनों,
it is the difference between the previous verses and this one, because here I also become equal to others. So long time back I had heard a joke regarding the Marxists, because they talk about equality. So once when there was the Marxist rule in Russia, so one minister went to America.
डेमोक्रेटिक है तो मार्क्सवाद के वो,
and because America follows democracy, they are opposed to this Marxism.
ये समाजवाद कैसे चलता है, थोड़ा समझाइए, इसमें क्या सब बराबर.
So one reporter asked that how do you what is your concept of equality in Marxism? So the reply was that we are not like you, where somebody is very poor and somebody is very rich. So then the reporter asked, you see everyone with equal vision? So the reporter asked, if you have two houses, will you give one to the other? And if you have two cars, will you give one car to the other? So the minister replied, yes, this is Marxism. Then the reporter asked, if you have two computers, will you give one to the other? So then minister replied, no. So the reporter was surprised that you are ready to give house, car, why not computer? So the minister replied that it is because I actually have two computers. That's why I will not share one with the other. So even in this Marxism, the ministers, they only talk about equality as long as they do not have to suffer. But this verse that Bhagavan is speaking here is referring to actual communism, actual equality. Because actually, the communists, the Marxists, if you see their leaders, they do not live like the common public. They have their own facilities, their own wealth. But they preach this to the others. We have seen this in India also. But what Bhagavan is telling is that you have to actually feel like this, because if you do not have this feeling, but you are showing off in this way, you are preaching to others, then you are a hypocrite, as Bhagavan said earlier, mithyachara. This will not help you in your sadhana. In some of the sects of Buddhism, they say that first of all, if you come on this path, for the initial 3 months, you have to be in the smashan, the graveyard, because there everyone actually becomes equal. Ultimately, everyone ends up in the graveyard only. So they say that first you live there for 3 months. Then you will understand that ultimately everyone ends up here, so it's all equal only. That's why it is said that Yamaraj sees everyone equally. Yamaraj does not have any partiality towards anybody. So in order to get such vision, these Buddhist sects, they send the beginner to live in the graveyard for 3 months. So this verse is a very powerful verse to blast, the ego, bring it down. So as long as we maintain our ego, we cannot be compassionate towards others, because we want to show ourselves as superior to the others. So this is a method to bring the ahankara down, to break it. As we have been studying, whether it is karma, jnana, bhakti marg, we have to give up the material ego, and especially in bhakti, because in bhakti it is taught that we are the dasas of Bhagavan. He is the whole, we are the angshas. He is the master, we are the dasas or servants. So this is Sharanagati. Unless we give up our pride, how can we take shelter? In Gita also Bhagavan says this. So Bhagavan is teaching one process, how it can be given up.
तो सर्वत्र भगवत बुद्धि रखता है, जैसे पिछले श्लोक में कहा। और दूसरे जो योगी हैं वो,
so everywhere he maintains this awareness of Bhagavan.
लगे हैं अपने। तो इसके बाद में फिर ये जब श्लोक बोला तो अर्जुन थोड़े घबरा गए।
So when Bhagavan spoke this verse, Arjun became worried that what Bhagavan is telling here is quite so difficult, because Arjun is a kshatriya.
मैं बड़ा योद्धा हूँ, वीर पुरुष हूँ, तो ऐसे कैसे देख सकते हैं? तो इसलिए वो प्रश्न करते हैं फिर। अर्जुन उवाच।
Arjun speaks. He asks this question to Bhagavan.
योगस्त्वया प्रोक्तः साम्येन मधुसूदन एतस्याहं न पश्यामि चंचलत्वात् स्थितिं स्थिराम्। अर्जुन ने कहा, हे कृष्ण,
Arjun said, O Krishna, this yoga has been described by you as a state of equanimity, yet I do not perceive it as a stable state, owing to the flickering nature of the mind.
तो मन तो चंचल है, और इसके बारे में और भी बोलेंगे वो, और भगवान भी कहेंगे कि हाँ ये ठीक है, लेकिन
so mind is flickering. Bhagavan will also speak about that.
योग में आती है। अगर आप ध्यान करते हैं तो ध्यान तो 24 घंटे नहीं करते ना।
If you are doing dhyana, you don't do dhyana 24 hours. you may do dhyan or meditation, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. Then your mind is stable, and then you do your work. So then you do not have to keep your mind very stable. But this yoga of samatha or balance, equanimity, this is not for 1 or 2 or 3 hours.
समय तो आपका कोई नियंत्रण नहीं है, लेकिन आप जो भी 15-16 घंटे जो भी आप जागृत अवस्था में हैं,
in the state of sleep you do not have control over the time, but when you are awake, at least that time you should maintain this state of equanimity. So for that only Arjun is telling, this is not the yoga that Bhagavan had described earlier.
उस योग की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं.
He is not speaking about that yoga. Here Bhagavan is speaking about the yoga as a state of equanimity.
साम्यता का जो योग वर्णन किया है,
He is telling that this yoga which has been described by you as a state of equanimity, I do not perceive it as a stable state. It is not that I cannot follow it, but I do not see it actually as a stable state. Because if somebody will criticize me or challenge me, that time I remain stable or balanced. This is difficult because my mind is flickering. It is not in equilibrium. So as a good student, he is presenting his question to the teacher. The good student is one who is ready to accept his weakness in front of teacher. Not that if he asks a question, he is worried that what will the teacher think, that is he a fool, or what will the other students think about me. So Arjun is not worried about that, what others will think about him. He is not worried that what will Bhagavan think, oh Arjun is so fallen, his mind is flickering. No. Like if you go to a doctor, you have to tell about your disease, your problems. If you hide that in front of the doctor, if you hide it from the doctor, how will the doctor be able to give any prescription? How will he cure your disease? He has to understand the problem to arrive at proper solution. Similarly, here the subject is yoga, and the central focus of yoga is control of mind. Yogaschitta vritti nirodha. And especially here, the topic is of samatha or equanimity. So how to control the mind? This is the biggest problem especially in the spiritual path. Actually, even for success in this world, material success, you have to control your mind, and people do that also. If somebody is sitting in his shop, he has to control his mind. Not that he thinks that, okay, let me go home and watch television. No, he has to sit in the shop. If you are working in an office, so it is not that you just take a holiday because you feel like that. No, if you have been allotted some work, you have to do that. So you have to control your mind. Otherwise, you will be removed from the job. So similarly, we have to control our mind here also. In the office, we work under pressure from the boss. We work being under pressure, or we work for money. But here, there is no such pressure. So here, we ourselves need to have the proper understanding. In this spiritual path, it is not possible to work under pressure. We have to get the proper understanding. So here Arjun himself is asking,
तो अर्जुन एक बात को समझ गया है कि भगवान
Arjun has understood one point, that Bhagavan is speaking about equanimity. He was speaking about equanimity from the beginning itself. In the spiritual path, it is very important to understand this point of equanimity. In the material world, you can become successful by competing against others. You can move ahead of others by competition, but in the spiritual domain, there is no place for competition. You have to become free of the competitive mentality, whether you like it or not, whether you understand it or not. It is better that you understand this point, and by understanding, you apply it in your own life, then it will be beneficial for you. Otherwise, it is just the pride that I brought the other person down. This happens in the society. That you pull the other person down, and you feel very proud, and then you show off in front of others how you were successful in shutting, in silencing the other person. We have also done this earlier. Maybe we are doing this now also. So we have to give up this habit. Spirituality is not a path of ego. Material world functions on ego.
और अहंकार से ही सब कुछ आता है फिर तो संसार तो चलता ही उससे है लेकिन उस संसार से अगर मुक्त होना है
So material world functions on ego, but if we have to become free from that, it does not mean that you just give up the ahankar, keep it somewhere else. But what it means is that now you use that ahankar in seva. You have to change it. Ahankar will remain only. Ahankar will remain, like we have our hands, legs, eyes, nose. How can we give it up somewhere else? So people say give up your ego. So you cannot actually give it up, just like you cannot give up your hands, feet. Hands, feet can still be cut, but ahankara cannot be cut. It is subtle, it will remain. But what it means is that you use it in the right way. Similarly, we have our mind. We cannot kill the mind. Some people speak about killing the mind. So here killing the mind means controlling it. So these are subtle material elements, whether it is ahankara or mind or buddhi. So we cannot give them up, but we have to use them. So how to use them, that is what we have to learn. And in order to be able to use them, first they should be under our control. And this is what spirituality teaches us. So understanding these points and then using them in the right way, this is actually what spirituality teaches us. That is why this 6th chapter, Bhagavan spoke about it in the beginning itself, that our mind is our own enemy, mind is our own friend. When our mind is in our control, it is our friend. When our mind is out of control, it is our enemy. So Bhagavan is explaining the process, how to control this. One method of controlling is that we do pranayam, we do japa, and the other is that always while working also, how we keep them under control. This is the yoga of equanimity. So this is very practical, and if we can understand this, we will have good relations also. So why do relations get spoiled? Because we do not understand others, we do not understand the desires or feelings of others. We do not understand why the other person is behaving like this. If we understand that, then all problems are solved. all these interpersonal conflicts, they happen because we do not understand the other person's thought process, and we simply remain intent, fixed up on our own thoughts. If we can understand others properly, then to a great extent these interpersonal problems can be resolved. And we have to live in the society, whether spiritual circle or in this materialistic society. We have to, whatever it is, we have to deal with people. So in order to deal in a proper way, this formula, this previous verse is the main formula to live properly in the society. But problem happens when this yoga of equanimity does not remain stable. So that's what Arjun is talking about. So in this chapter, from verse 10 to 29, Bhagavan explained Dhyana Yoga. So Arjun is referring to that only here, that this yoga, the yoga that you spoke about, and this yoga is the yoga of equanimity.
समता की प्राप्ति आप करें। पहले कर्मयोग का वर्णन किया।
Firstly, he explained Karma Yoga. It is possible to attain equanimity through Karma Yoga, but it is difficult to attain equanimity through Dhyana Yoga. In Karma Yoga, you are dealing with others.
ध्यान योग में तो आप, उन्होंने पहले ही कहा कि सुचौदे से प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरम आसनम आत्मा, वो कहीं कि एकांत में जाके आप बैठ जाइए।
For Dhyana Yoga, Bhagavan said that you should go and sit in a solitary place. So there you do not have to deal with others. So then in Dhyana Yoga, how do you practice this yoga of equanimity in Dhyana Yoga? Because you are not dealing with others. So Arjun is telling it is very difficult maintaining equal vision for friends and enemies is very difficult. On one side I have my brothers, the Pandavas. On other side I have Duryodhan, the enemies. So how do I maintain equal vision? It is very difficult. So Arjun is asking this question, and in next verse Arjun will speak more about this, and then Bhagavan will answer. So we'll discuss that in the next class. We'll stop here, and if you have any question you can ask.
अनंत।
प्रणाम बाबा जी। मम्मी का एक सवाल था।
नमस्कार बाबा जी, प्रणाम। और मेरे को ये पूछना था, अहंकार और आत्मसम्मान में क्या फर्क है? क्योंकि
So question, what is the difference between ego and self-respect? Many times we think that what we are doing is out for self-respect, but others think it is out of ego. Answer, ego and self-respect are different things. Self-respect means I want respect for myself. I want that others respect me. And ahankara, or the ego, it is the foundation of this idea of self-respect. Ahankara is the I that we refer to. So that is the ahankar. So this feeling of self-respect is for the ahankara, because currently I and my ego are not different. Actually Atma and body are different, but currently we have fused them together. It's like mixing water in milk, then they become one. Not actually one, but they appear to be one. And you deal with them in the same way then. If you mix water in milk and you give milk to somebody, you'd say take this milk. You don't say take this milk mixed with water. The other person will say I want milk. Why are you giving water? So currently, the I-ness of Atma and the I-ness of the body, they are actually different, but now they are fused, glued together. So we speak about self-respect for that only.
और ये एक प्रकार से शब्दावली थोड़ी जो लोग उसको स्वीकार कर लें, ऐसे शब्दों का प्रयोग करते हैं.
And people use such words like self-respect that others will accept easily. Because if you say that I am doing this for my ego, then others will see it in a negative way. But if you say I am doing this for my self-respect, then people do not feel bad about it. So it is for that only, but you use a better word which sounds nice.
और कोई
बाबाजी प्रश्न है नवदीप जी का, क्या किसी
Question:
व्यक्ति को डांटना
Is it appropriate to scold someone or use harsh language when they are not improving or unable to improve despite being repeatedly told to address their shortcomings? For example, boss keeps scolding and threatening employees with consequences, or parents keep scolding children because they are not behaving or studying properly.
अब ये तो देखना पड़ेगा.
Answer:
माँ बाप का कर्तव्य है
this has to be analyzed on a
नियंत्रण रखना.
individual situation basis. It is the duty of parents to keep children under control, to teach them good behavior. So if they do not understand in the proper way, they may have to they may have to be scolded. Even Yashoda chastised Krishna, and she bound Krishna with the rope.
बात यहाँ पे समझने की ये है कि
So this has to be done, but here point is that it is not that you cannot scold others, you cannot become angry, but the point that Bhagavan is making is you have to check your internal state of mind. What is your bhava?
हमको बताए और हमको ठीक करे. और अगर हम
If we see others' faults, then we should be willing to face our own faults when others are showing that.
जैसे हमारे माँ बाप ने हमको डांट लगाकर हमको सही रास्ते पर लाया है.
So just like we were scolded by our parents for our own benefit, so similarly we may have to do it for the children also.
बाबाजी नवदीप जी का दूसरा प्रश्न है.
Next question: how should I respond when I am repeatedly scolded or screamed at despite sincerely trying to improve? I feel helpless and afraid about the uncertainty of my job, especially when my explanations are not understood or respected. At that time, I feel like I should give him or her an answer that put them in their place for keeping on insulting and demeaning me without caring for the outcomes, and difficult to wish good for them. So answer: you yourself are telling the solution also, that you show them their place, but you have to check if you show them their place, then they will also do that with you, and then will that result be beneficial for you or no? You have to check it. You may be able to correct them or put them in their place. I don't think that is possible.
तो ऐसी स्थिति में तो आपको ही सहन करना पड़ेगा इसको.
So in this situation, you only have to tolerate. If you want to continue your job there, if they accept what you say, it's okay, it's good, that they understand. But the way you are saying, it doesn't seem likely that they will listen to you, because boss has his own ego.
नरेश जी पूछते हैं, नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदाय ते में ते है या ने है मंत्र में?
In this mantra, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaya Te, it is Pradaya Te or Pradayine? Which one?
तो है
So
प्रदायते,
so either you say pradayate.
प्रदायने तो गलत होगा, अगर ने होगा तो प्रदायिने।
So if you use ne, then it should be pradayine,
दोनों का अलग अलग अर्थ है।
and
प्रदायिने
they
का
have
अर्थ
different
देता
meanings.
है,
Pradayine means
प्रदान
one
करता है,
who
प्रदायते माने
gives,
दे रहा है।
and pradayate means one who is giving.
वो सत्री प्रत्यय से बना प्रदायत्री, और वो दूसरा निर्णय प्रत्यय से बना है प्रदायिन। दोनों अलग अलग शब्द हैं।
Both are different.
मुझे मेरा एक प्रश्न है। आशा करना बहुत ही स्वाभाविक लगता है
One
और
question,
स्वतः ही
expecting is
जानकर या
quite
अनजाने में
natural,
भी अनजाने में भी
and
हम कर
knowingly
बैठते
or
हैं।
unknowingly
मैं जानना
we
चाहती हूँ कि
end up
आशा का मूल
keeping
क्या है,
expectations from
किस
others.
प्रकार से
So my question
आशा
is,
की
what is the main
हटाया जा
reason
सकता है?
for this expectation,
आशा का मूल
and how
कारण
can
यही
we
है कि
can get rid
सोचते
of
हैं या सोचती हूँ
this
कि
mentality?
ये फल मेरे को
The
मिलेगा,
answer,
इससे मेरे को सुखी
this mentality of
आनंद मिलेगा।
expectation is because we have this thinking
कुछ
that we will get this
व्यापार
result
करके
and that
मुझे
result
खुशी
will give
होगी,
us
इससे मेरे को
happiness.
आनंद मिलेगा।
So whatever you expect
यही मूल कारण है।
assuming that it will give you happiness.
तो अब ये तो आपको देखना पड़ेगा कि
So
जो भी
you have
आपकी
to
पूर्व
analyze
की आशाएं हैं,
that whatever
पूरी
previous
हुई, उससे आपको
expectations
आनंद
you
मिला या
had
नहीं मिला।
when they were fulfilled, did they make you happy or no?
तो उसको देखना पड़ेगा। तो क्या इससे भी ऐसे होगा क्या, इससे वास्तव में या मेरी आशा पूरी हो जाए तो क्या मेरे को आनंद मिलेगा इससे?
So you have to check, if my expectation
ये
is
विचार
fulfilled,
करना है।
will I be
आशा
happy?
करना ठीक है, आप आशा कीजिए, लेकिन ये
Fine,
भी
you
विचार
are
कीजिए
having
कि
expectation,
ये
but
पूरी
you
हो
should
जाए या
also
नहीं।
analyze,
क्योंकि क्या होता है कि जब हम
if your
किसी भी चीज
expectation
की
is
आशा
fulfilled,
करते
will
हैं
it give you happiness?
तो हम
Because
उसको
what
जो है
happens
वो
is that
सकारात्मक रूप
when
से
we
लेते
make
हैं।
an expectation, then
जैसे
we
उदाहरण के लिए
focus only on the positive
मैं
side of
कहूँ कि
that.
मैं हर एक आदमी चाहता है प्राय करके कि मैं अमीर बन जाऊं,
Like every
और
person
अमीर
wants
बनने
to
का
become rich,
तरीका नौकरी करने से तो कोई ज्यादा अमीर बनता नहीं है।
and by doing a job you cannot
व्यापार
become
करना,
very rich, so you have to do
वो
business.
व्यापार करना
So
चाहते
many
हैं,
people, they want to do
और
business,
फिर वो उसमें सोचते हैं कि कैसा व्यापार
and
करूं,
then they think
कैसे
what
पैसा
sort of business I should do, where I
तो
will
उस
be able
समय
to
जो
earn
योजना
more
बनाते हैं
money.
वो यही बनाते हैं कि
So
इससे मैं ऐसा
they
करूंगा,
make
मेरे
this
को इतने
plan
पैसे
that I will
मिलेंगे।
do this and this will, I'll earn this much
लेकिन व्यापार
money.
करने में जो
But
समस्याएं आती हैं,
the
जो
problems which are there in
जो
business,
आप
the
चाहते हैं वो
hurdles, the
नहीं
obstacles
होता,
which are there, and what you
उस
want, if
पर
it
भी
does
ध्यान देना
not
चाहिए।
happen, then
दूसरे जो
you
उस
should think about
फील्ड
that
में हैं,
also.
उस क्षेत्र में
And the
व्यापार
people who
करते
are
हैं,
already in the field
उनका
of
भी अनुभव
business,
लेना चाहिए कि
what is
क्या क्या
their
समस्याएं हैं।
experience? We should
तो
check
प्राय
that
करके जो
also.
हम आशा रखते हैं किसी
So
चीज से, तो
generally,
हम
when we keep
उसके
expectations
केवल
from something,
एक पक्ष ही देखते हैं,
we
दूसरे पक्ष पर
see
ध्यान
only
नहीं
one
देते।
side. We do not
और
see the
उसका
other
मूल कारण
side.
ये होता है कि हमारी इच्छा
And for
होती है
that, the main reason is that we already have the
कि ये मेरे
desire
को मिल जाए,
that I should get
तो हम
this.
दूसरा पक्ष
So we ignore the other
देखते
side.
नहीं। तो दोनों देखने चाहिए।
So we should analyze both sides of the coin.
पूजा जी कृपया अपना प्रश्न पूछें। कृपया बोलिए पूजा जी।
मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
आ रही है।
थैंक यू गुरुजी। गुरुजी, मेरा जो सवाल है वो आज की क्लास से रिलेटेड नहीं है, मतलब बहुत टाइम से ये सवाल मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती थी भागवत जी की क्लास में भी। तो
So
सवाल
my
है कि
question is
जैसे
not related to this class, but I
हमारे
wanted to ask
हस्बैंड होता
about
है,
it from a long time.
जो बोला
So my
जाता है कि
question
जितने
is
दिन में उनकी सुबह
that
से रात होती है उतने दिन में भगवान
one
श्री
day of
कृष्ण फिर
Narayan,
जन्म ले
when
लेते
it
हैं।
is said
तो
that
मैं अगर पूजा हूँ
from
तो
one
मैं
day to
फिलहाल
night of
अपना
Narayan,
जन्म ले चुकी
we
हूँ,
have
पूजा तो
taken
पहले आती है,
lots
फिर
of
भी उनकी
many
शक्ति भी
births,
समा जाती है। तो
and then
लेकिन
during
हम
Pralay
इस
or
मंजर में कैसे
the
आए?
great
मतलब
dissolution, the
जैसे अभी तो मैं हूँ, जितनी देर में शायद वो पलक झपकाएंगे या जितनी देर में शायद सुबह से उनकी शाम भी होगी, तो कई पूजा पैदा हो चुके होंगे और मर भी चुके होंगे।
तो ऐसा है कि आप केवल एक ही स्वरूप की बात कर रही हैं, वो ब्रह्मा जी की।
so you are just talking
ब्रह्मा
about
जी के जीवन में
Brahma,
1000
that in
करोड़
one
वर्ष
day
लग
of
जाते हैं।
Brahma 1000 Chaturyuga cycles are completed.
लेकिन उसके अलावा भगवान का
But
जो स्वरूप है
apart from
वो
that,
एक परमात्मा है, वो
Bhagavan's
आपके हृदय में बैठा है।
Swarupa, he is Paramatma, he is
तो
seated in your heart.
जितनी देर तक आप हैं उतनी
So
देर तक आप रहते हैं। गीता में भगवान कहते हैं
when you are there, he is also there with you.
भगवान गीता में कहते हैं कि मैं सबके हृदय में बैठा हूँ।
Bhagavan says in Gita that I am seated in everyone's heart.
50 पूजा निकल गई इतनी देर में।
So it is not that he just
आप
blinks
पूजा
and
कीजिए
then
किसी जी में
50
तो उधर
pujas
गए
gone. So
आपका
if
ध्यान
you do puja in this life
परत
itself
हो
and
जाता है,
then
आपका ध्यान भी
he pays
आपकी तरफ
attention
हो
to
जाता है।
you. If you focus on him, he also focuses on
दिन
you.
में बहुत जन्म जो हो जाते हैं वो ब्रह्मा जी
So
के
in one
नारायण जी
day of Brahma, many
नारायण जी
births
परमात्मा
happen.
रूप में
That happens for Brahma.
हमारे हृदय में
One day of Brahma,
हमारे
not of
हार्ट में
Narayan.
वो कण कण
Narayan is
समाये
already in our heart and
समय पर है।
he is there. He is
और
present
गीता में
everywhere,
भगवान श्री
in every
कृष्ण ने
atom.
कहा ये यथा माम
And in
प्रपद्यन्ते
Gita,
ये
Bhagavan also
जानते
says
कि जो जिस प्रकार से मेरे को भजता है मैं भी उसी प्रकार से
that in
उसको
whichever
फल
way
देता हूँ।
one
तो
worships
ऐसा
me,
घबराने की
I
जरूरत नहीं है।
reciprocate accordingly. So we should not become worried
ध्यान मैं अपनी तरफ
that
कैसे
how
खींचूं।
how do
आप अपना
I
ध्यान उन पर कीजिए
attract
तो वो भी
him.
अपना ध्यान आपकी तरफ
You
रखेंगे।
don't have to worry about that. You focus on him and he will automatically focus on you.
हो गया? ठीक है, प्रार्थना श्लोक।
Prayer verses.
सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा। कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः। यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्। यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिर्ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजाङ्घ्रये। भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्।